Well, the government has said that 50% of India's adult population that is eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine has now received one dose of the vaccine. Now, this is indeed a milestone. However, studies have shown that both doses are needed for better protection against the Delta variant, which we know is dominant here in India. Now, according to our World in data, only 10% of the entire population has been vaccinated. So, the government has calculated 50% on the basis of eligible population, and if you look at the entire population, which also includes children who are not eligible to be vaccinated just yet, then 10% of the population has been fully vaccinated. But let's also look at the vaccine target, and I want to bring that graphic up full screen at the moment. If you look at the vaccine target, we are still falling short of the vaccine target. If you look at those figures right there, our average required rate of vaccination needs to be 11 million on a daily basis. But it is indeed a milestone, 50% of eligible population being vaccinated. We also have Dr. Rahul Pandit joining us on the show. He is a member of the Maharashtra COVID Task Force, Director, Critical Care Fortis Hospitals. Thanks very much, Dr. Pandit, for being with us. 50% population vaccinated with one dose according to the government. Do you think we will be able to achieve the target of vaccinating 60% of our population with both doses by the end of the year?
So good afternoon, Rishika. Thank you very much for having me on your show. I think what we need to look at is from the perspective. So you put in both the perspective there. You said 50% is vaccinated, at the same time you said less than 10% is vaccinated. So I think with the population, the kind of population our country has, we are actually doing a fantastic job. And I would also say, I'm not saying this just to basically please up anybody, but we are almost vaccinating the population equivalent to Israel per day, for example. And that's a huge amount of effort which is going in. Vaccine availability has been a concern, and with every vaccine being given a clearance by the government, we will probably be narrowing that gap down slowly. And I'm believing that we are much better placed than what we were a month ago. And maybe 1 month down the track, we will have more vaccines available for people to be taking in. I don't know whether we'll be able to meet that gap before the 31st of December or not. That's a question mark. We will have to just wait and see how things go. But surely, I think we are progressing in the right direction. We would have loved to have more vaccine available, more stock available within the first few months when we actually wanted to achieve that target. But what's gone is gone. We need to sort of focus on the way forward and see how things can move across.
Dr. Garg, the concern here is that while, of course, it's a milestone, no doubt, that 50% of our population has received, eligible population has received one dose of the vaccine. If you look at the state-wise breakup that we've been putting out on our screens, 59.2% of Kerala's population has also received one dose of the vaccine, and look at the surge of cases in Kerala. So is one dose enough, therefore? And is the protection that one dose is giving enough at this stage of our fight against COVID? Dr. Garg.
That's why I was saying, Rishika, that we have to go state by state and view the situation, because 1.9 crores and 70 lakhs having second dose. So there's a huge gap. So there we have to expedite our immunization program, and also with low, positivity in our fourth round of sero survey. What will come to our, as has been pointed out by Dr. Pandit also, that we have to see at the end in December, I will look from the public health perspective, then I have got X number of individuals who have already been infected, and there is no better immunity than natural immunity. That we have to keep in mind. And along with that, we are vaccinating people, and we have also kept a sufficient gap. Actually, if you see it, the person who suffers from a natural infection, if you will see from the science part of it, he does not, his memory cells are primed and he does not require a vaccine for quite some time. That is important. Though from the government perspective, we are giving after 3 months, that gap can be further extended. There is no doubt about it. But we should give to more vulnerable population, as I said, that those who have not got any, infection, those who have got only one dose of vaccine, so they should be prioritized.
We're still talking about one dose, and I know that we can't compare numbers, but vulnerable populations across the world in some countries are now being given a third booster dose. So that's a whole different conversation altogether. Dr. Pinto, I'll give you the last word. The milestone of 50% of our eligible population getting one dose, is it really as much a cause for celebration, given the fact that, I mean, look at the Kerala numbers. They tell you a whole different story. 59.2% of Kerala has received that one dose, but yet their cases continue to spike.
As a clinician, I think, and even as most of our population, I think what we've realized is that the biggest problem with COVID has been hospitalizations, lack of oxygen, that kind of a burden on healthcare, right? And 50% of this eligible population is predominantly the ones who end up in a hospital or who end up needing the healthcare. Younger individuals don't tend to get hospitalized.
Yes.
So one dose of vaccine in this 50% of population who could have completely overwhelmed our healthcare system is still a big achievement. Okay. And I think we may not be able to achieve cases going down, but as long as our hospitalization and our death numbers remain low, I think it's a cause to be happy.
All right. Well, I'm completely out of time. Thank you all very much for joining us.